I will say it once, I'll say it again, and I'll probably have to continue saying this for my whole coaching career for League of Legends. The three things 95% of players need to improve to actually get to their goal ranks this season, next season, in 5 seasons' time are their champion pool. You need to cut it down if your primary goal is climbing. 2, your laning phase. This is the most important phase of the game. If you can't get this right, everything else becomes a lot harder. And 3, your deaths. 95% of League of Legends players are dying too much, which reduces your impact. When you're off the map, you have no influence over the outcome of the game, and we never want that to happen when we're playing solo queue and we're trying to maximize our personal agency to climb to our goal rank. Before we get into this profile review, if you want your profile review just like the one you're about to watch, please check out the links in the description below. Let's get into it. Currently, you are Gold 4, you've played just over 200 games, and your goal is to get to Masters in the mid to long term, but your primary goal in that short term is to get to Platinum. So in this profile review, we're basically going to be breaking down what you need to do to go from the top 28% to the top 12% through things that you can do on your own, as well as things that can accelerate your learning, such as coaching. So we'll give you both options, and you can decide how you want to get there. First thing I want to talk about is your champion pool. Then the second thing is your laning phase. The third will go into your deaths per game. And then the fourth, your kill participation. So that's kind of how we're going to structure this profile view. Now, the first thing I look at when I'm doing a profile review is champ pool. And right now I can see that you've got some good historical champions here. I can see your Kai'Sa at a 55% win rate. I can see your Caitlyn at a 63. I can see Ezreal at a 56, and I can see Seraphine at a 60% win rate. And these are all over at least 10 ranked games played. So the first thing I think about when I see a player who is struggling to get back even to their previous season's rank, so you were Gold 3 last season, you're not even there after 200 games, is what are they doing differently? And I can't answer this on this profile view, but I want you to reply to me why you're doing things differently. So to me, if I was you and I was thinking, my goal is to get to Masters and I want to get to Platinum at least this season or this split, let's say, I would be going, well, what do you need to climb in League of Legends? You need a high win rate, or you need a sustainable win rate that is, you're winning more than you're losing and you're able to gain more net LP per win compared to your per loss. So, you've got a 55% win rate. That's basically what you need to climb in League of Legends, at least. So then you go, well, okay, how do I get a 55% win rate? And you can go, well, I can improve, or I can just play my historically good champions that I know I have at least a 55% win rate on. And those are the ones I just listed. You've currently got 4 in your top 7 most played, yet in your recent match history, I don't see them that much. I see a lot of like Jhin, for example, and I see a bit of Jinx, which you've actually been having success on, but you're throwing in games like Sivir. And to me, it just looks like you're playing too many champions. So the first thing I want to break down for you is champion pool. You should be maining maximum 3 champions right now. And when I say maining, I literally mean 99% of your game should be on 3 champions max, because you're trying to get to the top 12% of players, and that is the meta for climbing in League of Legends. Everyone either 1 tricks, 2 tricks, or 3 tricks. And statistically, if you 2 trick, you've got a higher chance of getting to Platinum, and if you 1 trick, you've got an even higher chance. So never think that your champion pool isn't diverse enough, or you won't be able to climb just 1 tricking to Platinum. Yes, you can do it. You can climb 1 tricking to Masters, you can climb 1 tricking to Challenger. So never think, oh, the champions I play are going to dictate how much I can carry, or I don't like playing Kai'Sa because I can't carry on her. It doesn't matter what champions you pick. As long as you have fun on them and you've got historically a good win rate on them, those are your keys to climbing. So for you, if I was you and I was like, I really want to get to Platinum in the shortest amount of time possible while playing champions that I enjoy and I have historically a good performance on, I would say I would just be 1 tricking Kai'Sa And then I would be interweaving your Caitlyn and your Ezreal. And then you could even switch out Ezreal or Caitlyn for Seraphine, because I actually think Seraphine, for example, is severely underrated. I think she's super strong and she adds a bit of diversity to your champ pool where you can actually play a ultra scaling AP bot laner that is super safe, has great wave clear, and you can add that to your champion pool so that you can play like Kai'Sa, Caitlyn, and then Seraphine. Like, that's an amazing champion pool. So that's the first thing. You've got to work out your champion pool. And again, I can help you do this. So once you've watched this profile view, if you're interested in building a custom champion pool based on your preferences, your strengths, your weaknesses, and what champions you want to learn, please, once you've watched this, reach out to me and we can book a free call to go through your champion pool. The second thing I want to talk about is your goal difference at 15. So going over to Mobalytics, I can see that your goal difference at 15 is negative 118. And, you know, that's not that bad, but if our goal is to get higher than we currently are, we can't be having a negative goal difference during laning phase. So the first thing you need to do, you need to set yourself the goal of, let's get this to plus 200. Again, how do we get it to plus 200? Well, we cut out champs like Jhin, where you have a negative 83 goal difference. Kai'Sa, look at that, plus 224. Isn't that crazy? Was that one of the champions I said to put in your champion pool? Oh, it is. And you wonder why? Well, because you've got a great laning phase on them and you win games with them. And then champs like Jinx, yes, you might be negative at the moment, but you've been having a little bit of success I can see in your most recent. So I'm actually comfortable, and again, this is why we should chat. I'm comfortable of, like, you know, if you want to add Jinx to your champion pool because you really want to learn Jinx, and I think Jinx is super strong at the moment, that's fine. We can kind of look at how we could go about adding that, whether it's, you know, doing it on a Smurf account so you don't affect this account's MMR, practicing it in normal games, or simply just adding it in but getting some coaching on your Jinx gameplay first so you know what to do, you know what to improve, and you know the biggest hurdles that are, you know, currently giving you a 48.6% win rate instead of a 55 like your Kai'Sa. And then we can keep going down. But basically, if you're a gold 480 carry and you're trying to get to platinum, you need to improve your laning phase. Laning phase is the most important phase of the game because it sets everything else up. League of Legends is like chess. If you've got a shit opening, every move you do after your shit opening is going to affect your ability to win the game. It's not like basketball where you score a point, everything resets, you know? It's League of Legends where you lose something, you've got to claw it back. You know, if you die, you lose 300 gold to the enemy opponent. Now you have to get that back plus money to actually get ahead. So that's why laning phase is so important, because it is the foundation for building income, resources, and XP, which is critical for AD carries to perform their primary function, which is carrying. Two, it allows for consistency. So when you have a consistent laning phase or a positive laning phase, it allows your mindset to be very consistent and it stops tilt and it prevents all those kind of things. So laning phase is super important because it's the most impactful time in League of Legends in a game. And it's also the most in your control, right? When you think about laning phase, it's the most in control you're ever going to be in the game. Because as soon as laning phase ends, the game becomes a lot more chaotic and there's a lot more win conditions and things you've got to think about, right? But during laning phase, all you have to think about is the enemy AD carry, the enemy support, and the enemy jungler, and maybe the enemy mid laner if they go missing. And it's really contained and the variables are quite minimal. Like, you can count them on your fingers. But as soon as you get out of laning phase, there's everything else like dragon timers, baron timers, grouping, recalling. And yes, these things are apparent in laning phase, but they're not as impactful. And so laning phase, it's much more easy to control, and that's why you need to set it up and make that one of your primary things that you need to improve. Again, if you're like, well, that sounds good, but I don't really know how to improve my laning phase specifically for the champions I want to play, please, once you've watched this, reach out to me. We can book a free call and I can talk to you about what you would need to implement to fix your laning phase and to develop that champion pool that we've talked about. The third thing I want to talk about is your deaths, which you actually pointed out as well in your submission for this profile view, is you are dying way too much. Like, I can actually see in your last 20, you're down to 7.8, and I want to go to your last 40 to see, okay, 8.8, but it is down from your overall of 9.5 over 200 games. So firstly, I think you are naturally improving this, and this makes sense. You know, as players play the game, grind it out, you will naturally improve a lot of these areas. You'll start understanding your strengths, weaknesses, limitations, and you'll be able to naturally adjust your play style accordingly to die less. However, you are almost dying 100% more than the average 80 carry or the average I want gold 80 carries who are trying to get to platinum to aim for. So when I coach players and when I coach 80 carries to go from gold to plat, one of the first things I look at is their deaths after their champion pool and their laning phase. I look at their deaths and I always set the goal of 5.5 deaths as that ultimate goal that they should be aiming for. And so the fact that you're 8.8, you're over 3 deaths per game more than what I consider the goal, there's a lot to be fixed there. And deaths, as you know, are really important to get down because when you're dead, you're off the map and you have no influence over the game. And in solo queue, we always want to maximize our individual influence over the game. So if we're dead a lot, we have no influence, no control over the game. And then we're relying on the 9 other players in the game, the 5 enemies and your 4 allies to either win the game or lose the game for you, which is really bad, particularly as an 80 carry because you're meant to be the carry and dying is not part of your remit. So again, if you're like, well, great, I know I'm dying too much, but I don't know why I'm dying. Please, once you've watched this, reach out to me. We can break down your champion pool, we can break down your laning phase, and we can figure out why you're dying too much and how to prevent that through coaching. Now, the fourth thing I want to talk about is actually something really good, and this is something unique that I've seen in your account that I don't usually see in gold 80 carries who are looking to get to platinum, eventually masters, is your kill participation. You have an unusually really high kill participation, which I love, 47%. Now, if we could actually get you a proper champion pool, fix your laning phase and reduce your deaths, but still maintain this 47% kill participation, which I do believe we can do, you would be able to climb a lot faster. Right now, your overall win rate's 47%. Overall, in your last 40, it's 50. I think if we can fix those 3 things, and keep your kill participation up around the 45 to 50% mark, we can increase your win rate to about 55 to 60% in your next 30 to 60 games, and we can eventually get you to plat. It might not be this split, but it would definitely be next split, which sets you up for next year going for diamond, masters, and that ultimate goal that you're going for. And that's realistically the progress timeline you need to think about. Anyone telling you that you can go from gold to masters based on your current history right now, you could, but you would be like the 1 in 10,000 people that are able to do it. And generally when I see players who have played, at least 5-6 seasons and they still haven't been able to break platinum, it is going to take a little bit longer for them to get to masters because they're just not understanding the concept that they need to on their own. And so that's why coaching is really important, but that's why profile views like this can be really enlightening and useful. And that's why, that timeline to get to masters is going to be a little bit longer. So Montreal, I hope you've enjoyed the profile view. The big 3 things you need to fix are your champion pool, cut it down. Your laning phase, please improve it. Die less, get more CS, recall faster, or smarter, I should say. And the third one is you need to die a lot less. Aim for 5.5 deaths per game. And then the fourth one is keep up that kill participation. Keep grouping, keep joining those team fights, but just make sure you're not dying in them. Once you've watched this, mate, please reach out to me. We can discuss all the points I've talked about here on a free call, and we can determine what exactly a coaching plan could look like for you, your budget, and your short-term, medium-term, long-term goals. And I can develop a personalized coaching solution for exactly what you need to get to your goal ranks. So cheers, good luck on the Rift, and I hope to talk to you once you've watched this.